Randy Orton faces off against Chris Jericho. And before we get into the match itself, let's talk about the peep show that was on the
Oh,
pre-show.
do we have to?
Yes.
Let's sing the peep show. It's a show with Christian's peeps.
So, other than one joke that Randy Orton pulled out, can anybody tell me what the fucking point for having this as a pre-show was?
Well, it was to introduce Christian back as a character on the roster because he's been out for over a year from a concussion that apparently has suffered with his parenthood stuff.
If that were the case, they would have put him on Raw or SmackDown.
The only way this segment was
That didn't even make any sense.
the only
Like
way
what
this
I just
segment
said.
would have been good is if they actually did that Terrence and Phillip thing where they go, "I'm not your buddy guy."
I'm not your guy, friend.
That or they just fart on each other. Just do that. I mean,
This,
that would have been more
this
fucking-
segment was just a big fart.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it started out with them playfully arguing, and then it was like, but fuck that. Randy Orton, you're gonna wrestle him later? Yeah. And then Orton's just kind of like, hey, I'm wrestling you later. I think you're a dipshit. See ya. It's just like,
Remember that one
bye
time-
Night of Champions, everybody. I was so fucking disappointed at that. I mean, the three guys that were doing this, I don't dislike it any way, but I was hoping that maybe like Christian would turn heel or Orton would attack Christian or something would fucking happen, but this was literally the exact same shit that you see on Monday Night Raw. So that was a real huge indicator to me that they didn't try for Night of Champions for the most part. A lot of rematches, a lot of like rushed feuds, a lot of things that really didn't make a whole lot of sense. So Peep Show was a bad start to that, and the Orton and Jericho match, it was one of the better matches of the night, but it was pointless. It wasn't for anything. It didn't lead anywhere. It's not like it's helping Orton out by having him win. The end of the match, Jericho on his podcast was like, everybody who says I saw that coming, oh, bullshit, I don't fucking think you did. Nah, anybody who could fucking see the way he was standing could tell that he was going to jump straight into a fucking RKO. So that wasn't thrilling. We've seen that a bunch of times. This was the Mountain Dew match, by the way. So,
Oh, so this was for the Mountain Dew Championship.
yeah, so they accomplished one thing. They got paid in to buy Mountain Dew. And that's it.
Well, the only thing that the only reason why people thought that Jericho was actually going to hit Orton and wasn't going to cut in an RKO was because they've only been dabbling in wrestling.
Yeah, if you dabble in wrestling for a little bit, then you might not catch it, but
Christ, I wish I was still dabbling in wrestling.
No, I'm glad you never dabbled in wrestling. That would have been terrible to watch.
Are you guys making jokes?
So, I mean, fucking Orton and Jericho, blah. That's all I gotta say about it. What do you guys have to say? Anybody want to praise the match? And Jericho was saying that it was one of his better matches since he came back, and I don't know if that's a good thing to say or a bad thing, because he hasn't really been having that many good matches, so
This
Maybe,
run
yeah.
sucked.
yeah, this is probably his worst run that he's had in a long time. I didn't
No,
like
he's-
the one he had before this either, but that was better than this one.
Now he's probably only saying that he thought it was a good match just so to make it set. He's just trying to play it up, essentially. I bet that's what he's trying to do.
As far as like match quality goes, it wasn't a bad match. I just couldn't get into it. And the ending was terrible because it was so fucking obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm plodding and I'm slightly leaning forwards. I sure hope I don't get caught in an RKO. Aw,
Oh, that was out of nowhere, Orton.
you sure got me.
Me meaning Samuel Shaw.
They could have just chucked this up on Raw, and I still wouldn't given a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what I gotta say about it too. If this would have been a Raw match, it would have been like a semi-main event, like a middle of the night kind of a thing, and it would have been like, Jericho match was okay. Like,
And it would have been exactly the same fucking quality.
yep. So, anybody else have any other things they gotta say?
It was a match. I recall stuff happening that made it a match.
Stuff indeed happened in the match. So we have Divas Championship coming up next. For those interested in watching that part 9, you can click on that and you can continue listening if you're on iTunes and Stitcher, and that will come your way right about now.